the latest news, sending troops to the region when Ukraine says they don't want us there, when obviously the American people do not want to get into any other wars after we just had the debacle of Afghanistan. What do you think we should be doing in that region?
Well, I'll tell you what, let me preface that by saying a couple of things. Number one, if President Donald J. Trump were still in office, we would not be having this crisis right now.
Good point.
He was very, very strong on defense, standing up for American interests, our allies' interests as well. We wouldn't be seeing Putin even doing these types of ventures. And then we also want to go back to what you just prefaced just a second ago about our Afghan withdrawal. That set the stage for all of this garbage. The debacle that it was, it's going to go down in history probably as the worst foreign policy debacle in the history of our country, and probably will be for who knows how much longer into the future. I hope and pray it never is equaled for what happened, because it emboldened Putin, it's emboldened the Communist Chinese, President Xi. It has set the stage for what we're seeing today. And quite frankly, we can see that our allies are not moving their troops into this region. And you know, what good is 2,000 or 3,000 troops in an area that is surrounded by 120,000 Russian troops? The foreign policy, the setup, the prefacing that this Biden administration has already done created this entire crisis. And so I wouldn't want my kids to be sent over there to Ukraine. And we saw what happened in Afghanistan. We lost 13 brave soldiers and Marines and Navy personnel. We cannot see this again.
You know, it's interesting that we're so worried about the Ukraine border, yet we can't secure our own border.
Amen.
And speaking of immigration, I know you want to talk about this report that was just out. Biden now is still trying to go after border agents over the whole whipping controversy, when we've heard from the journalist who took the picture. I don't know if we can put it up. We've heard from the border agent that was on the horse and his commander. We've heard from everybody that was down there, and they've said, that's part of the reins, bro. He was just going back and forth on the horse. He wasn't whipping a human being, and yet Biden is still going to go after these border agents. Am I hearing that right, Brian?
You are hearing that right, Dan. What? And it is a despicable disgrace what the Biden administration and Biden himself, as well as Secretary Mayorkas, who have thrown these mounted border patrol agents under the bus without any information, without any kind of investigation. You know, these agents deserve to have an apology from President Biden himself. He had no problem demonizing these mounted agents based on these photographs, which absolutely were later debunked by the photographer himself as fakes. And now they don't want to even release the investigation findings and make them public. And that is unacceptable. DHS officials have reported that they don't think, these are anonymous reports coming out of DHS himself, that says Biden and Mayorkas do not want to release this report because it makes them look absolutely terrible.
Well, we've already seen
we're calling for the release of this report immediately.
Yeah, and Brian, we just showed, I'm sure you've seen them, the audio and the video recordings of border agents that were meeting with Ortiz, their area chief commander guy, and Mayorkas a couple weeks back. That video just got dropped this week. I'm sure you saw it, where they were calling them out for the crisis at the border, and they had no answer. They told them, oh, just do your job, do your job. I know we're all over the map here, but there's so many crises that Biden's created. We'll finish on the last one here, and that's the China competition bill. Obviously, this guy does not want to rein China in. We know Republicans, we know Donald Trump wanted to rein them in. He had the China deal that we were supposed to be signing, then COVID blew up. Now progressives pushing back against you guys on this one. Why? I mean, I know why Joe wouldn't want us to push on China, because him and his family's made millions of dollars off of them. Just read that new book, Red Handed, by Schweitzer.
I think $31 million worth of deals with the Biden family in China. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
But
insane.
This is a 3,000-page bill called the America Competes Act, which empowers communist China while making the United States weaker and less safe. We call it an America Last bill. In fact, we're even calling it the Concedes bill, because it went from, you know, and we talked about this a second ago. We've gone from the toughest president in my lifetime on China, threat to the president and party. They seem more interested in China's success than their own to this, you know, with the Biden administration. It's just incredible. This bill is so full of trash and garbage.
Brian, this wasn't, sorry to interrupt, this wasn't put up by a lot of the old school Dems. This was put up by the progressive movement of their party, I would assume.
This is the tail wagging the dog, the radical wing of the Democrat Party. This ain't your grandpa's old Democrat Party, believe you me. But this bill mandates $8 billion in taxpayer money for the Green Climate Fund. This is an unaccountable slush fund, which will be controlled by, guess who? The United Nations. The Democrats rejected our attempts to prohibit the Communist Party of China from accessing these billions. And it's just unbelievable. You can't make this stuff up.
I know. Every day it's a new one. Every day it's a new one, Brian.
There's no guarantee that this $8 billion won't be used to purchase things that are made in these horrible supply chains in China, made by slave labor or tainted by genocide as well.
Disgusting. Representing Texas 36, Congressman Brian Babin, always a